Hey everyone!
Hello, welcome to Wicked Honest True Crime.
True Crime Fridays.
Yep,
That's what we're doing now. Glad to
welcome,
see you, but
welcome.
we don't see you.
Glad for you to see us.
Yeah, glad for you to see us. Glad for you to be here. And Tuesdays is our kind of wacky, authentic, letting it fly selves, and now
Yeah.
we're bringing it serious.
We're reining it in.
We're reining
We'll
it
see
in.
how we do with that. We're gonna try to rein it in. That's good.
Yeah, I think we struggle, as we said, like dark humor we have too.
Yeah.
And this is a dark story.
Yeah.
I don't know, we talked about it at the end of the last episode, what we're going to
Yep.
be speaking of. There's some ads out there, but we are going to be speaking into exhaustion about the murder of Susan Taraskiewicz. She is it's a 30-year-old, over 30-year-old, I'm sorry, cold case. Sue is from was from Saugus, Massachusetts. She worked at the airport, Northwest Airlines, that no longer exists. And she was found in the trunk of her car in Revere, Massachusetts. Massachusetts. I just sounded like my Aunt Lizzie from Charlestown. Like, that's exactly how she said Massachusetts. Sorry. But Revere, Massachusetts, over 30 years ago. And we are going to discuss this case and have a couple of disclaimers.
Yep.
In at first. We want to be very respectful in doing this. I have reached out to the family. They phone call, a letter. I'm writing a book, and they weren't responsive to me, but I'm working with two police officers on this book. Two retired, one retired Revere Police, one retired MSP, Massachusetts State Police, and the state police officer retired did speak with one of the family members, and it sounded to me that they're just not very
Exhausted.
interested, tired. I'm sure they're inundated with books, podcasts, people. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah.
But I'm
Also, I was thinking too, like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like, it just must be at some point, no, although you never stop hoping and searching and waiting, you kind of probably have to choose peace at some point, or maybe, I mean, this is all speculation. Like we said, we
Yeah.
talk to them and don't want to speak for them, but I could understand that if that was.
Sure. And I don't think, obviously, I think bigger, they've been and spoken on bigger platforms. I don't, we're just, I bet they get a lot of smaller people or people calling them, and who knows what they deal with. So I can respect anything, and we want to always be respectful. It would be great at some point if we could talk to them, because they can clarify things sometimes. This is an active sort of investigation, for lack of a better word, because there's so many podcasts out there and YouTube shows that'll do a one-off on a crime, and we're not doing that. We are going to speak about this again to exhaustion.
Yeah, we're also not regurgitating facts where this ended up because of the situation where you're actually writing a book on this case. It ends up being investigative work, not even on purpose, just for your own research for the book. And then things start happening and things start getting said, and then you start meeting people and people are calling you back. And so it's really different than just, a podcast where, or this is going to be very different than just a podcast where, they just tell the story of the facts and kind of take the case and what it was and explain what happened and say that it's still a cold case and speculate. This is a little bit more involved.
It is, and I was very hesitant to do this, and I'll speak to that in a minute. I'll just finish my disclaimer. This is an active investigation. This is a cold case, but active, and open case. I have reached out to Massachusetts State Police 4 or 5 times, and I have not gotten a call back. I have put in a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request, and that was denied.
And then there's no, it's a blanket reason, just that there's an open case is the denial. There's no, it's a generic denial
It seems like a blanket, a canned
statement.
that it's an active
Because you
case.
can actually get FOIAs from active cases. So it's not uncommon to get a FOIA from an active case. So it's a little strange that that request is being denied, but
Oh,
just maybe worthy of mention.
and that is one of the reasons why I find writing a book about a case, writing a book takes a really long time. Then when you're finished with it to get to publishing, so long
Grueling,
and
yeah.
grueling. And there's so many true crime podcasts, YouTube shows that are doing true crime, and you're seeing a lot more people talking and the police being more cooperative because there's so much engagement with people that have remained quiet, that are coming around, and you see in these podcasts and YouTube shows the police are finding it incredibly helpful. I'm sure at first they're going, shit, maybe because they're not, these podcasters and these shows are finding out some things they didn't, and there's people that sort of want to speak now that they 30 something years later, maybe the fear isn't as much as it was
Also,
then.
I think there's something to be said for street people talking to street people. Not that we're
Well,
so city. I should say city people talking to city people,
and
not street people.
I'm glad you said that, because especially in this case, I think I'm having a lot of luck with that, because I am from Revere. You are from Winthrop.
Yeah.
I can get down and dirty with the best of them.
Yeah.
And I grew up a certain way. I grew up where you didn't talk to cops.
Yeah.
No. I know, the codes, you don't talk, you don't rat, all the things. So I still, not that I stand by that. I feel like you need to talk when there's something bigger, but there's a part of me that does. I get it. And it's a thing for me. And I think a lot of where we are from, it is.
Yeah. I think it definitely makes people more comfortable.
Yeah.
To speak rather than speaking to a cop that can put them in, that can do something, that can do something too. So that kind of stuff is happening.
Yeah, that is happening
that's
actively. And we didn't realize how fast this train was going to take off. So there's a lot of things. So please bear with us. We're talking about this. It's not a docuseries. It's not a clean and polished podcast YouTube show that's going to come out when it's all wrapped up in a little bow. And you said that to me perfectly. This is just real-time talk. We're talking it through. We're walking you guys through it. We want your comments, your feedback. Let's make it be interactive. But we're not lazy. We have a timeline. We're doing things, but we're trying to stay in real time, real current, because stuff is just
coming in.
I can't keep up with it.
Also, we give us a chance to correct ourselves. If we figure out something, this has already happened to us just in the research phases, where we'll be talking about it and I'll ask a question, she'll answer me, and she'll come back the next day and say, I was wrong about that. I just read this in this file, blah, 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 blah. So, give us a chance to correct the record when things like that might come up, because like we said, it is happening in real time. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So it's an active investigation. Any information you have on this, please call Massachusetts State Police, Suffolk County. Anything you want to share with us, we'd love it.
Yeah.
We are in no way, shape, or form trying to slander people, trying to solve the crime, say who did it, who murdered her, and what. We are not doing that. We are going to report on names that were already in public record. Reports, filings that have been public record, people that are willing to talk.
Yep.
Sources, all anonymity, if you want that is absolutely fine. And I've already have multiple people I've spoken with that is what they want. People are still scared 30 something years later.
Yeah.
And I'm scared.
Yeah, me too.
And I dragged her into this. I was like, hey, so I'm writing the book, and I did think this was worth doing. I think we could garner more information if we're lucky. And I said, are you into this? So you want to do it? And what do you're?
And I said, high risk behavior, sign me up.
City street people.
Yeah. So
please call MSP if you have any information.
Yeah.
But this episode, we're just breaking down, we're not breaking it down, we're just giving you the case. We're giving you the facts of what happened. And
I just want to interject.
okay.
We're going to say this once, and we're not going to say it every episode, because I feel like there's a potential for us to do this because we have such big conscious,
Why can't we speak?
I don't know, conscious, is that what I'm
Are
trying
you
to say?
my Aunt Lizzie from Charleston?
Yeah, I'm Lizzie from Charleston. But we want to be respectful of her family. But if you listen to our other show, dark humor is where it's at. We kind of go back, we talk about
Yeah.
Revere. I mean, we're going to be laughing about stuff. This is not a laughing matter. We are going to turn on the seriousness at times, but there's certainly some times where we're going to go off the rails a little bit and be laughing and making fun of certain things and stuff. And that's just, we don't want to have that translate into disrespect for Sue or her family. So we're going to say it now, and we're going to just say that's just a little side thing that we always want to remain respectful of Sue and her family.
And we are saying this because we had taped a few episodes of this and watched ourselves back, and us trying to be inauthentically ourselves does not work.
No.
So yes, we are who we are. We are serious people. We have serious, but
absolutely. But
when we're really, it's a balance, because this is such a huge deal. It's a huge matter, and this was not taken lightly at all, doing this and writing this book. I felt I have written 3 books now. My third is not yet out. This I probably would have never taken on, and I wanted to tell this story.
Yeah.
So you understand why I'm doing this.
Right.
And I had always thought about Sue's case. I think everyone from where we're from, the North Shore, this case, you say the girl on the billboard.
Yeah. Why don't you explain that so people know
So
what that means?
the girl on the billboard, Sue, after she passed away, after she was found deceased, her family, I believe it was their family, I'm not sure who else resurrected other billboards, but it was on a billboard, multiple
Yeah.
over the years in Revere.
For what felt like from our high school age to our 30s. I mean, it was there
Died
forever.
in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
She's about 10 years older than us. And this billboard going into the city, I recall, and then there was another one you remember going, I think, the opposite way on, but it was McClellan Highway. And then there was another one. Someone said, oh, I forget what the name of that road is. And I do sort of remember this. It came back to me, but they were up for years.
Yeah.
Always just reminding us about this stain on the community. This happened, this tragic event, and her face just staring down with wanting answers.
Yeah.
And I had never forgot this. I've never forgotten her. I've never forgotten her face or this story ever. And I said, a dream of mine would be to write this, because
I said it to me 10 years ago.
I did.
I mean, yeah.
And I did write I wrote an article about it, a small article. It was published somewhere. This was years ago. So it always stayed with me. But I write nonfiction inspired by actual events, which it's still inspired by actual events, but I have the leeway of fictionalizing it.
Right.
Which now this would be narrative nonfiction. And I was like, oh, and then am I qualified to do this? This is a big undertaking. I want to be, I want to be respectful of the family. I'm like, I want this to be amazing. And so I put it on the back burner. And then a friend of mine that I grew up with, Lisa, who was a very good friend of mine growing up, we've gotten together through the years a couple of times. She reached out to me and she said, hey, my cousin would love to talk to you, Joe. He's retired RPD. And I'm like, about a case or something. And I was deep in my second book coming out, and I sort of put it off. Oh yeah, really? But it intrigued me because an RPD, retired Revere Police, wants to talk to me about something. Because Revere Police Department has lots of stories and some questions.
Well, I said, are you sure they're not trying to nab you on something that you were involved in back in the day? Well, they've got to be careful.
Well, read my book, Drive City. And yes, the answer to that is probably.
Yeah, I just finished Drive City. And then you told me about that. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds risky. I don't know if I'd be.
It hasn't come out yet. She reads my books before she's one of the people I ask her opinion of it before I
She was doing some risky behavior.
Yes, I wasn't a great
wouldn't
kid.
approve of.
Yes, they wouldn't approve. RPD did not approve.
No.
So I was like, ooh, interesting, juicy, but never thought of anything. And
Yeah.
then I sort of put it off, and I forget how we ended up getting in touch, but we got in touch later on, and he wanted to talk about this case. And I was like, what? This
Yeah,
is
that's crazy.
Even though as an author, I've had another, it's wild how some people reach out to me. I had another man in Florida reached out to me about another case in Boston. That was, and I'm like, why are they reached out to my publisher actually, and I'm like, why are they reaching out to me? I don't, because I don't, my books don't align, but I think how I advertise myself, like raw, gritty New Englander.
Yeah.
And how
Like, just like we said, I
my
mean,
voice
just
is-
being
my
from the
voice-
city. Yeah.
it's maybe you gravitate towards me and how I kind of.
I'm waiting for
advertise
Ben
myself.
Affleck and Matt Damon to gravitate towards us. And make
I've
one
been
of your
waiting
books
for
into
Ben
a
Affleck
movie.
to gravitate towards me for a long time. but
Anyway.
So Joe starts telling me about he had written a book and about his time as fictionalized, inspired by his time as a police officer, with this story sort of woven into it. And he has been deeply affected by this story, as so many are, her family, friends, obviously, but beyond that.
He investigated it, right?
No,
I mean,
Sean, that was Sean.
Okay. So
Joe introduced me to Sean, and Sean's like, Sean and I, who was Mass State Police.
Right, because it was Mass
Lieutenant
State Police,
detective.
because it turns into Mass State Police when it's a murder.
When it's a homicide,
When it's a homicide.
anywhere, and if I'm wrong, please correct me.
I think you're right. I mean, that's what I know.
If it's BPD, Boston PD solves their own. They have their own homicide. They solve their own homicide.
Okay.
Outside of that, it's Massachusetts State Police.
Like with Karen Reed, it was not the Canton Police Department. It was taken over by MSP.
Yes.
But I didn't know if that was because John O'Keefe was a cop, or if that.
No, if
it's just all.
Again, if it's my understanding, if they're a cop or some type of, maybe a certain, the feds could take it over.
Okay.
So that's my understanding. Where was I?
You were talking about Joe and Sean being introduced to Sean.
So Joe tells me his story about why this case bothered him so much. And Joe's from Revere. He knows a lot of people a lot of names that have been named, and heard. He's about Sue's age. So he's heard, he was out in the bars with the people, and Joe's sober today, and he's an amazing guy, and does tons of work for mental health and people trying to get sober and all that. He's great. First responders.
Right?
That's his whole company. He's a great guy. He's going to be on the show, and I can't wait for you to meet him, because he is Revere in a nutshell. He's got all the lingo and the talk, and we talk, and he talks like you know every player in the game with Joe, and it's like, all right. But he has been working with Sean, who worked the case, and Sean is polar opposite. Sean is reserved, sort of stoic, very soft spoken, and he worked the case, and Sean has his own reasons for being so affected by this case. He worked it. He made a promise to Sue's mother, Marlene. So my book is very much a lot about the characters, myself, the police, the community, and with the case sort of woven into this, because I think these stories and why this has affected us all so much
is just as interesting as
the
open case.
It is.
Yeah.
And how it still does. And these things haunt areas and communities and stay with you even though you move on. So Sue, 27 years old, 1992, she Saugus, Massachusetts, and Saugus.
She lived in
Saugus.
Yep. Okay.
I grew up in Revere. You grew up in
Winthrop. Yeah.
She worked at Logan Airport, Northwest.
Which is in East Boston.
Which is East Boston. Is it fully East Boston?
The whole thing? Yeah.
Okay. I wondered that if there was any overlap into the city.
No.
And she worked at Terminal E, Northwest Airlines. Northwest Airlines, just a side note, had a lot of financial issues at this time, and then later on filed for bankruptcy. Someone buy out something. Delta absorbed them. I think in early 2000s. So, just a side note. So Sue by all accounts was, and I'm talking to coworkers and uh, coworkers, a few friends,
Friends, yeah,
and
relationships.
more. And I have a couple of, I'm in contact. Well, I've reached out to a bunch of people I have not heard back from yet, but described as a real strong, go-getter, driven.
Mhm.
Then it's interesting because other people quiet, reserved.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective and what
Yeah.
how she was in your life,
Yeah.
you know.
But she was no shrinking violet. She had dreams, and she was into art. She was into went to art school, and she also I think at one point wanted to be a cartoonist, and she was very, very into Snoopy and the Peanuts.
Right. Charles Schultz.
Charles Schultz, yes, she loved Charles Schultz. Her stationery was Snoopy and Woodstock, and um, Charles Schultz later. I just don't want to forget this point. She drew a Snoopy for her gravestone, which is just it's almost gonna cry
Yeah,
just
that's
talking about that.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
amazing. I didn't know
and
that.
she was athletic in high school, and also sort of a by the book person, and we're going to discuss this later in her job. But what I'm finding, and this is obviously my opinion just from research. I do not know this for a fact, but she seems like a very sort of black and white person. Like there's good, there's bad, there's right and wrong. She was also a woman in a male dominated field.
Right.
She started off in baggage at the airport and de-icing planes.
Yeah.
Which she loved. Apparently she loved de-icing planes, which I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
And I worked at Logan for a time. I did security, which is terrifying.
I can't I can't even imagine.
This was before 9/11. And I could tell you stories that would make your head spin.
No, don't.
It's
Don't.
crazy. But Sue went into work a regular shift. She worked the 11 to 7 shift, Logan Airport, went in. She, at that time, was a supervisor. She really climbed her way up to be a supervisor. She, as I said, she was a black and white person, and she did the right thing and utilize what she needed to in her career. And what I mean by that is, so if something wasn't correct, she was up for the supervisor position. She deserved the supervisor position. She worked her way there. She had been working there for a couple of years, and she was passed by, and she filed a grievance.
Mhm.
And and she got the supervisor position.
Yeah.
And she became the first female supervisor in that position for the ramp crew.
I'm sure that went over really well with all the guys.
Well, and this is 1992. So you're going to find out this didn't go over well with a lot of the guys that
Yeah.
work there.
Yeah.
Very severely did not go over well. So Sue became the ramp supervisor. She came into work 11 to 7, September 12th, 1992. That was a Saturday, turning into Sunday, which
yeah.
would be September 13th after midnight. She drove to work. It is not confirmed where she parked. That's a sticking point for me. I don't know why it drives me crazy, but it does, because it's important.
Yep.
At the time, the airport's always under construction. It's always, at that time, it was very much under construction.
And there was multiple places where she could have parked. There was
Yeah.
a lot that was you could excuse me, shuttle to. There was a lot of people were pulling up, putting their hazards on or shutting their cars off, and someone knew somebody and they leave their car there. Yeah. There was central parking that you could pay and park in. So there was multiple options for where she parked, and it's never been,
to my knowledge, it's not been confirmed where she parked.
which is once you hear the story is kind of wild.
Yeah, well, there was no cameras back then,
I know, but you just feel like
would they know?
I know.
And I've talked to sources. It was not uncommon for you to pull up to the curb until like a little while later and maybe move your car, or someone moved your car, or
Until like some people left and there were more spots or whatever. Yeah.
It was kind of loosey-goosey. And as it was, 9/11, everything changed. So she came into work for her shift. She then somehow just was decided Sue would take a food order, and they took a food order for Beachmont roast beef. Beachmont roast beef, and we're from the area, so we know all of the landmarks, the even just the way things sort of operated.
Yep.
But Beachmont roast beef is what, a couple of miles away, not even from the airport.
Mhm.
And it was, I had spoken to a source, I'll even give his name later in the right context, but the only places you ordered food from at that time of night, and the airport crew always did, was Beachmont roast beef or Chinese food.
Mhm.
Because it's Beachmont roast beef is open till about 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And
We all went there all the time.
all of the
Every
time.
single time we were on our way home from something, it was like busier in there at 2 a.m. than it
It was
was.
the best.
Yeah, it was the best. The best.
It was so good.
Yeah. It was so good.
I don't eat meat anymore, and I'm still like, it was so good.
I've never had a better sandwich since that. Like, I've never had a better sandwich than there.
I mean, I don't know if it's because you're drinking and it's like after midnight.
No, I'm like chasing the dragon. I'm like, I want I want a three-way, but to taste like that. No, I got it during the day too.
No, same. It was delicious. The sauce, everything.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving
Oh my
on.
God, sorry.
We're running out of time.
Yeah. So Beachmont roast beef, she's gonna go. She's the supervisor though, so I questioned right away. That's odd. Why is the supervisor going?
Yeah.
And
I think I said to you, doubtful that she parked somewhere she had to shuttle to her car if she's going to pick up the food.
so you coming into work, then all of a sudden, and apparently this was sort of right after, close to like the beginning of her shift that she did this.
Right.
So after midnight, somewhere with like 12, 1 o'clock or
She's
something.
only been at work for an hour or two.
Now
2
you're
hours.
taking a shuttle back to your car to go. No, that's
her car must have been local.
somewhere close.
Yeah,
somewhere close. So it's decided she's going to Beachmont roast beef. There's a couple of things that happen, and I'm going to tell you, like, things are reported, some things are not reported. So I'm only going to speak to all of them, but I'm going to tell you if things are confirmed or not. So it was said she got a phone call. At first I was like, okay, the break room. There's a lot of information about this break room there that we'll get into later. And there's always a break room then, and there's the one phone. There's no cell phones.
Right.
So we thought it was the break room. Maybe she got the call. But then, being a supervisor, I did a little bit more digging with a couple of coworkers who said, no, she's a supervisor, should have her own office.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So assuming she got a call in her office, but maybe the break room, someone knew she got a call, and I don't see anything in the police reports where they knew who called, or where if I actually just read recently that they could have traced the call, but they didn't then. And this was said in a report. I don't know if that's not there. I'm not sure that this was said in a report. I'm working with these two police officers, and one of them has a lot of his own files on the case.
Okay.
And I'm also getting other information from other sources. So not sure. She got a phone call. That's been reported. That's concerning. Did someone set her up to meet her?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So she leaves work
So
to go pick up the food after getting
She
a
leaves
phone
work.
call.
There also was a witness report that said that saw her leaving. She looked she was quiet and sort of somber. Maybe something was on her mind. That's just,
Yeah. And then,
who knows?
right, because that's speculation.
That's
after
speculation.
someone's killed, of course, then you
Oh,
go,
obviously.
what? She
Yeah.
looked like something was on her.
Good information, but who knows?
Yeah.
She heads out, leaves Terminal E, walks out the doors, and not to be seen again. Doesn't make it to Beachmont roast beef. The owner, it's been in some reports that the owner knew the airport crew was used to this night orders and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
She never comes back. She has about 5 hours left in her shift. She gets punched out.
This kills me. I can't. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm so stuck on this. I can't get over it. Well, she's going out to get, 10 people's food.
No, I'm stuck on that. The food.
Yeah,
the food.
it's the same, but it's the same scenario. Like you're going out to get 10 people's food. You just never show back up with it. There's no Venmo, like you said to me. There's no Venmo, there's no Cash App.
Where is this girl with my food?
So, yeah, I just gave her my $5 for my three-way. I'm starving. Where is this girl with my food? And then instead of being concerned about it and everybody coming together going like, where the hell is that food? They just go, well, we don't want to get her to get in trouble. Let's punch her out. Boom, boom. And she's punched out, never to be seen. I mean, just,
Well,
I know that was common.
it was, I'm
talked
told
about
that was
that.
very common then. And I know that even just from my own experience with my dad, he worked for the Teamsters, whatever, different times. And that was common. But to go out for food, not come back
That's-
with any
yes.
of the food.
I said, Diane, if you told me to punch you out, of course I would punch you
Yeah.
out. I wouldn't say a fucking word to anybody. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
Try not to swear on this podcast. But if you went to get food and you're my friend and I knew you were just going to get food and come right back, you weren't like, Keri, hey, I'm going to hook up with,
No,
Bob
no.
behind Beachmont roast beef for 2 hours, punch me out. This is not,
But
this is
what
not
else are
that.
there options though?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Who are you calling? Her house? Like it's
Right.
it's such a different time. And in researching this case, you realize how different these times are.
Right. No cell phones, no
It's
cameras,
wild.
no ring cameras, no
wild.
recordings. Yeah. It's hard to place yourself
It
back
really
into
is.
that
It's
time.
very hard, and we live this time. So
Yeah.
she doesn't come, and I read one report that it said Beachmont roast beef. Oh, I'm sorry, not a report. I heard a podcast because I'm listening to everything, doing the articles, Reddit, threads, Facebook groups, all of it. I'm drowning, but there was the owner said. The owner called and said
The owner of Beachmont roast beef
Yes.
called and said,
and I'm like, I don't think so. Like I don't remember at that time you ever gave a phone number.
yeah. And I think I said to you, like, maybe he knew them because it's so
And what are you
often
giving
that-
the break room phone? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
Possible.
Yeah, I know.
Possible. But I mean, oops, there goes my papers. Sorry. I have lots of papers.
So she leaves to go get the food. She doesn't return with the food. She's then punched out. Nobody knows by who.
Yeah.
And then because we're gonna end it because we're gonna
Well, and then there has been a little bit, a couple of reports that she was supposed to work the next day and someone punched her in and out. But that is not verified.
that would really drive me up a wall.
I
I
know.
can't.
I'm trying to verify that. It's hard.
Yeah.
But there's a report about that. And then she is found
About 30 hours later.
about 30 hours later, Monday morning. At the same time, which this is hard for me to speak to because it just bothers me so much. Sue worked the night shift, and working those shifts and being 27, coming in and out of the house was sometimes 2 shifts passing in the night. And she lived with
Yeah.
her parents. She still lived at home. You might go out after work and you might not come home. Like
You
so
might go to a guy you're dating.
It wasn't
It's not-
surprising that someone didn't see her the next morning or the next morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Well, you're not as available as you are today. Again, going back to the times. You
Yeah.
just went and did your thing, and sometimes people didn't know until they saw you again.
Absolutely.
Yes, if I lived with my parents at 27, they certainly wouldn't be like, oh, she didn't come home. It just
No.
depends on what kind of relationship you have.
And we forget that.
Yeah, right.
And but something big was supposed to happen this Monday morning, a very big deal. And her sister Debbie they were supposed to go to a wedding dress fitting Monday morning for Debbie, her sister.
Okay.
So they were supposed to meet and go, and Sue didn't show up.
Okay.
At the same time as Debbie's waiting, a supervisor from the airport calls the house and where is Sue? She hasn't shown up for work since
she was
she
punched out.
left, and
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not exactly sure what was said.
Yeah.
And now it's on.
Yeah.
So now she's reported missing. At the same time, there's a call coming in, and police are dispatched to Bravo Automotive in Revere, not far from the airport, right up the highway 1A, heading deep
Heading
into
northbound. Yeah. In Revere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And bit of a dark area right before you get into this major rotary.
Yeah.
And her car is there, her sky blue Toyota Tercel. There's a call of blood dripping out of the trunk, and Sue is inside her trunk, stabbed, beaten.
Yeah.
And strangled.
Yeah. And obviously deceased. I mean,
and not with us.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking. a crime like this found in the trunk, young girl,
So many different.
so many different scenarios. What could have happened?
Yeah.
Could this be a random crime? Sure.
Yeah.
A boyfriend.
First thing I think of all the time.
Always
Yeah.
think of that.
Yeah, a boyfriend.
But we're gonna really dissect because there's so much more going on, and we're gonna get into that the next time on Wicked Honest True Crime.
Yep.
So
We're gonna cheers to Sue
cheers to Sue
and staying alive, because
and
now
staying
we're
alive.
part of an active investigation.
I mean,
Good Lord.
you know.
But so next time we're gonna dive into some of the things that were going on.
Yeah, this is a lot bigger than you think, and we're gonna go down some rabbit holes
Yeah.
and some deep dives, but we're there and we're here. We're coming back, and Wicked Honest True Crime. Please stay with us.
We'll see you next
Like,
time.
subscribe, please support the show.
Yep.
Look at the show notes. We're always going to put pictures or any type of articles and things that you need to see.
Yep.
but like, subscribe, and
see you next Friday.
see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.